Sometimes we end up with routines for whatever reason that are too complicated. And then what happens is we get stressed out. They're not helpful. And maybe we don't even realize that it's because of the routine, especially after the age of 40, because I find that sometimes we just pick up routines and then we keep on doing them for years and years when we don't need to. And we need a wake-up call that tells us we don't need to keep on doing it. So today, this is your wake-up call. I'm gonna share 4 warning signs that your routine has gotten too complicated. I like to think of myself kind of as like the queen of efficiency. This kind of comes across in a lot of my videos. Maybe I'm just lazy, but when things take too long, to me, that's a red flag. So the first warning sign that your routines are too complicated is if you have too many steps to complete basic tasks. And if you go online and you maybe look at TikTok and things like that, you will see that a lot of people have done this. They've overcomplicated things in life that should be simple. So, instead of something taking 1 step, now it's going to be 10 steps. You're probably thinking of those 10-step skincare routines, and sure, that could be one of them. There's also things like cooking. I see a lot of people, they're short on time, they got to feed their kids, they have to feed their family, yet here they are making meals with dozens of spices and seasonings, maybe 3 pans and a casserole dish. You don't have time for that right now. Right now, your goal is to get food on the table, get people fed, and not get tired while you're doing it. I also think that this extends to other things like cleaning. Maybe you have very involved, deep cleaning processes. And listen, if you love cleaning and that helps you, great, keep on doing it. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes you fall into this trap. I used to do this with my kitchen. I used to think that in order for my kitchen to be clean, I had to go all in on doing a deep clean in the kitchen. And so I would take everything out of the kitchen just so I could wipe down the counter. So something that could take me 60 seconds ended up taking me close to 20, 30 minutes, all because I had to move everything off the counter. I've dropped that idea now. Now when I want to wipe down my counter, I simply wipe it down. And if I want to wipe behind things, if I've got appliances on the counter, then I just pull those out from the back, wipe behind it, push it back, and move on. So if you have this warning sign, I'm just going to tell you that think of the things in your life where you can streamline. Kind of back to that cooking, I think you could try batch cooking. This is one of my favorite things to do. I don't really have time to be cooking a whole brand new meal from scratch every night. I would love to, but I don't have time. So I try to do large batches of cooking. Maybe I cook 2 or 3 times a week and just make a ton of food. And I don't use a ton of fancy ingredients. I just use very simple, fresh, healthy food and some staple spices, of course. I make things like meat pastas or veggie pastas, maybe some lentil stew. I make a whole pot of beans. Or for example, if you're cleaning with a whole bunch of cleaning products, because if you watch commercials and things like that, they will have you believe that you need to have a specialized cleaning product for every single thing in your home, but you don't need that. You can simply make do with something like a multi-purpose cleaner that will pretty much virtually clean anything. Anytime you can find something that's multi-purpose, whether it is cleaning solution, maybe it's a sunscreen combined with a concealer, because any way that you can shave steps off of your routine, you're doing less, you're buying less, you're consuming less, but you're a lot happier. Number 2, warning sign, is if you are using your memory and relying on your memory for everything that you're doing. And I think that this kind of gets us through our 20s and 30s and it works well. But for some reason, when we get a little bit older, I think people are juggling more. They have a lot more on their mind. They're not able to remember every little detail. And I actually have a theory about this. I always think that we can't remember all of these little details because our brain needs space to remember the important stuff. But what happens is when you have a lot of little tasks and you're relying on your brain to keep track of all of them, you experience something called cognitive overload. And I feel like I have cognitive overload all the time. So I do 2 things here that kind of helps with this. So the first thing I've started doing recently is automating my reminders, because why do I need to remember something if the phone can do it for me, right? So I will just put an alarm in my phone and that will tell me certain things that I need to remember. If you don't like electronic solutions, of course, you can just make a to-do list, cross it off. You can have a calendar, whatever format you like best, but try to automate it so you're not just having to stress yourself out and rely on your memory. And then the second thing I do is I will use visual cues. And this is especially important, I feel like, for my husband, because he's one of those people who, if he doesn't see something, he doesn't think of it or he won't use it. So we keep a bowl at the front door, and that's where keys go. You could put your sunglasses in there. And then that way, whenever you're coming into the house, you know to put them there, and then you see them. So you're never wasting time thinking, where the heck did I leave my keys? The goal isn't really to do more. It's really just to stop your brain from having to be this storage unit for every single detail in your life, because that's not helping anybody. Moving on to number 3. And a lot of people have this problem, and I think it's a warning sign. It's if you are constantly cleaning up after your routine. One perfect example I have for this is your morning routine. Do you have your whole morning routine? Maybe you get ready in the bathroom and then the bathroom looks like a tornado came through. My thought is, if that's how your routine leaves things, you're kind of creating double work for yourself. Because number one, you're having to pull everything out and actually go through the routine, but then you also have to put it away and clean it up. And sometimes you spend more time putting it back than you did doing your routine. I think the idea here is you want to make your routine as simple as possible so that when you're done, you have nothing left to clean up. So one way I do this, and I'll just stick with the morning routine example here. So I have a makeup bag where I keep my makeup in it, and I only keep the makeup that I use every single day. So it only has 7 or 8 products in it, and it's in this little bag. I can carry it from room to room. I can stick it in a drawer when I'm done. I also try for things like skincare, I don't do too many steps. I don't use too many products. I don't use too many makeup products either. I don't want to be applying 10, 15 things to my skin and face. And you may think that's a lot, but a lot of people do that, because think about it. You're using all of your normal things like shampoo, conditioner, but then you're using lotions and serums and gels. And then on top of that, maybe you're using lipsticks and blushes and eye makeup. It adds up. I really love skincare and makeup, but if I'm spending all of my time doing it, it's just not going to work. Okay, the next warning sign, and I'll kind of talk about this one a bit, it's that you can't stick with the routine that you want. And what I think is, if this happens to you, it simply means that your routine is unrealistic, at least for your life and where you are now. I cannot tell you how many times I've said to myself, okay, I'm going to create this brand new morning routine, or I'm going to create this new cleaning routine, and it's finally going to be the thing that solves all my problems. Everything's going to be fantastic once this routine's in place. But guess what? After a week, usually it's all out the window. 2 things that I think will help. Number 1, start small. I have learned that you just cannot focus on everything. I've learned this in so many ways in my life, whether it's wanting to lose a couple of pounds, whether it's wanting to exercise more, eat healthier. It doesn't work if I try to do 10 things. So I've learned I have to start small, and I actually really just need to focus on one thing. And then the second thing I like to do is I do create anchor routines. All that means is that you're building a new habit by simply kind of tacking it on to an existing habit or routine that you already have. A lot of people call this habit stacking. Whatever you want to call it, it works really well because you've already got that one habit in place. So you can simply add this one small new habit on top of it. I'm going to just tell you 2 things I've done recently to kind of habit stack here. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to get 10K steps per day. It was a little easier for me to do that when the kids weren't in school and when it was summer for some reason. Now that it's getting colder and things are getting busier, I just haven't always been able to hit that goal. So I've kind of now started to build walking into things I'm already doing. So one thing, for example, that I'm doing, if I take the kids to school, then I will drop them off. I will park the car at school and leave it there, and then I'll walk home. This only adds about 20 minutes to my commute back, but it gives me 3,000 steps. Then when it's time to pick them up at night, I will walk to the school, get them, and drive home. So again, just another 3,000 steps. Now I'm at 6,000. Now I realize this isn't possible if you are maybe trying to be very quick. Maybe you have to go into the office. I'm very fortunate that I can work from home. you can see where you can add this into your routine. Maybe if you're in an office and you have to be on a call, see if you can take that call from the street and you can do that meeting while you're walking. Another thing that I'm doing is I've been wanting to take a magnesium supplement. So I'm taking magnesium citrate in the morning, and it's really always hard for me to remember to take these things. Well, I don't forget to take my 2 cups of coffee every morning. So now as soon as I'm done with my coffee, I will fill up a large glass of water, put the magnesium in there and drink it right away. And then that way I've kind of stacked it onto my coffee habit. I have to say, for me personally, I thrive on routines, but when they are stressing you out, almost even to the point where you hate doing it, you've got to figure out a way to change it up. Routines need to enhance your life. They should never drag it down. And I will just leave you with this quote from Charles Duhigg. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. He wrote The Power of Habit, and this is what he said. Almost every single species that has survived has the ability to take routines and make them automatic. That way you have cognitive power to invent spears and fire and video games. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to keep on watching, I'm going to link a playlist as always. And don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you here. Bye-bye.